What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, your favorite podcast that helps you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host with the most, your favorite coach, the Cameron Lovelace, helping you create your version of the good life every single Thursday. And today is no different. I have a very, very special guest. So a lot of y'all, what's one of the most, you know, I don't want to say repetitive or common hobbies that people say, you know what, I'm a become a photographer. I'm gonna pick up my camera and I'm gonna start taking pictures so I can start making money. There's so many people that do that, but there are very few people, at least that I know, that actually do it successfully. And even like the successful photographers that I know, some of them have very like specific niches. And so today I have somebody that is in a very really he's a beast in his niche as far as wedding photographies go, which I don't know if y'all know, but wedding photography is if you can do it well, it's a very lucrative field. But without further ado, my next guest, he is a frat brother of mine. Y'all know that's just how it is. I bring a lot of alphas on. It just that's what part of being an alpha is, having a good network is about, man. But I have a frat brother. He is a husband. He is a business owner. He is a college graduate. He's so many things. But without further ado, please welcome to the show, Mr. Leo Query. Leo, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Man, so thanks for coming on to the show. So let's go ahead and get into it. What made you get into photography?
Whew. Honestly,
Take me back to the
like a lot
beginning.
of no, yeah, like cause see, I never even thought about photography at the time. Back in high school, I used to actually draw like one of the top artists in my graduating class, and I said, okay, you're going off to college next year, and I said, I know they ain't gonna really draw like me back home because we used to do like human anatomy and all of that, and I'm like, okay, what exactly can I do next?
Uh-huh.
And right before I left, I actually said, hey, I want to buy a camera. And my first camera, Fujifilm X 1000, like not even a DSL, like it was
Uh-huh.
just like a point and shoot. Like you can't even like, it's just like click and we're like, okay, cool, that's it, nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And got my first, I guess, part-time, it's kind of like a real job to me,
Uh-huh.
doing behind the scenes of the Miss Teen Bahamas pageant, 2009. Never forget it. I remember everything.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of fell for it. I'm like, okay, this is something I could possibly see myself doing in the future. And I said, and it just came into a passion. And I said, okay, this is my way of extending my artistic scope versus staying, hey, you can just do drawings. And from that it just kind of took off, and it fell in love ever since.
Cool. Now, I don't know if y'all can tell, but Leo is joining us via satellite from Nassau, Bahamas. He is a native Bahamian. You can hear by his very thick accent.
I
But
am trying to
hey, man,
code switch. I
no,
have
no, no,
not
no,
code
do
switched
not
in
code switch.
forever.
Absolutely not. You will. That is one way to surefire piss off Sparkle if you code switch.
Hey, Sparkle should know I was living in Florida way longer than us, so I had to code switch. Hey, what
Of,
you say?
of course,
What you say?
I get it.
I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Well, yes, and I want to get into that too. But you said this was like 2009, so this was Was this high school, first year of college? When was this?
Yeah, literally straight out of high school. So I graduated '09 September.
Mm-hmm,
No, sorry, June,
mm-hmm,
and I started to dabble in it, and I like it was so crazy. Like 2009 June, then I went off to college in January 2010.
mm-hmm,
However, I wanted to test the water, so I had a lot of friends at the time in high school, and I said, hey, let me just like take a little bit of photos of you so I could kind of feel if it's something I wanted to do.
yeah,
Then, funny enough, in July, I had the opportunity to to do a wedding, and I reached out to this guy. Didn't know who he was. He was a top photographer. He was like my idol and everything. And I
Mhm.
said, "Hey, I wanna shadow under you." And he said, "Yeah, man." Come to find out, did the wedding together. He ended up being my cousin. Didn't know because background is Jamaican, but somehow the people getting married was Jamaican. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my aunt." I'm like, "That's your aunt." So me and you take technically related, and grew from then, turned into my mentor, call him my uncle, all of that.
Mhm.
Um, and then like yeah, like I mentored under him for like 2 months, taught me about lighting skills, like a little bit of business. And I kind of grew myself from that.
Mhm.
One quote he always said, "Hey, if it's anything, I want to make sure I leave something behind. If the next generation, if I pass on and go into the next world, I want to make sure I impacted one person." And from he said that it's impacted me and stuck with me. What is it? 11 years plus later. So yeah, kudos to him. Thanks, Sherrod L.
Big,
So
big ups. So what was that process for you? So because I don't want to say there's a lot of photographers in college, but there's a lot, like when we go to colleges, there's the guy that is
yeah,
the photographer. Like we pick that guy because he's not because he's good, because he's affordable to do
yeah.
to take the pictures of the fraternity, the probates, the step shows,
Mhm.
all that stuff. So
So
that what you did?
I- no, I don't know. It was like a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because okay, this is the thing. When I went off to college, like they were like, oh, when I started actually showcasing my work, the college photographer at the time, way older guy, Mr. Reeves, John Reeves, still remember everyone.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "You from the Bahamas?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he always, up until this day, tells me how much he appreciates me and the work I did and what I contributed and how I set myself differently. And I think it's just that Caribbean mindset, to be honest. You go off to college and I don't want to say this, but being over there, things are afforded to everyone. You could get this. Like you could work and do all of this. Like
Mm-hmm.
being a Caribbean person, you have to prove yourself to be better than everyone else. And I think that's what I really wanted to do and stick out. Um, so I kind of didn't do the fraternity thing. I found myself doing a lot of freelance work.
Mm-hmm.
My original niche is actually fashion.
Really?
That's what a lot of people know me for. Fashion, glamour, anything swimsuit, high fashion. That was me. That like up until this day, people say, "Oh yeah, you remember?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was like forever ago," but I still have my little twist on it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I actually did. Found myself doing a lot of free work, trying to build myself, to
Oh
be
yeah.
confident enough to approach big businesses, agencies. Hey, I want to work with this. I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to pay me. So I think that's what kind of progressed me. Just a lot of self confidence and knowing that I want to make something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like freebies. I want to be able to say, hey, I walk in, this is what I want. Give me this so I can walk out. And yeah. I mean, that's just the kind of determination you gotta got. I mean, people can say yes, people can say no. I know that was one thing I was fearful of. Like, I hate getting told no.
Mm-hmm.
So if a client was like, "Oh yeah, you too expensive," yeah, that's not what we looking for. I'll be like, I was a little distraught at the time, but I kind of broke out that habit. I'm like, hey, you know your worth,
Mm-hmm.
especially now in society where I set myself and I have my wife set herself apart from everything else. I'm like, okay, you know what you're worth. Don't downgrade or belittle yourself to accommodate people that don't value your work because it's creative, it's art. Like same thing as a painting. If you saw a Mona Lisa, if you saw the Mona Lisa, you'd be like, oh, I want. You can really bargain for the Mona Lisa, really? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
So what?
nah,
Wait.
I didn't do the frats. I even charged my frat. I wasn't playing with them. Them boys know me. DB? They say Leo. Oh, Leo will charge you. Hey, oh, frat discount what?
Brad
What?
discount.
Oh, okay.
Man, whatever frat discount you gave me for my wedding, I appreciate that. But walk me through that because you come, like you said, you come from a Caribbean background, and this is me outsiders looking in. You know,
Mhm.
I always say I'm a quarter Bahamian because I'm married in, so I ain't half, but I'll claim my little.
You
I'll
got
claim,
papers. You got papers.
yeah, I'll claim my little quarter. I'll claim my quarter. But from what I've seen, like from coming from a capitalistic society where entrepreneurship, you get the paper, you get the bad, and then going and seeing a collectivist society like the Bahamas, help me understand what that transition was for you, because what you're like, the way that you just described it, you said, nah, I'm gonna go get out here and get it. I need to be paid. Here's what I'm worth. Like that's a completely different from the the country that you come from. So tell me, like, what that was, that a rough transition, or have you always had that?
I mean, I think it was like Bahamian term brought up sea. Um, it was how I was raised. I know my mom hustled for what it
Mhm.
was to support me, my little brother, straight through high school, private, college, private, um, straight into college,
Uh-huh.
doing doctorates, all of that. So I think it kind of relayed to me that, hey, if she struggled this hard for you, you got to be able to struggle this hard for yourself and make it somehow. And I think it kind of got to me at a point when I was in college when I heard a lot of people. I always used to hear from my professors. They're like, "Oh, you're so different than the average student. You try to excel where you don't really need to excel." I'm like, well, I mean, if I wasn't on a scholarship,
Yeah.
like you got students that could just come in and pay, what is it, in-state fees. I'm like, bro, I paying 30K, 32K a year. Like I'm not on no scholarship. Like I have to make sure when I leave here, I get my degree. I have a business. I have a mindset that sets me apart from everyone else.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think that kind of pushed me to say, okay, well, if you look at everyone around you, it's afforded to them.
Uh-huh.
Um, you basically in a foreign country, you gotta fend for yourself. Is this a passion? Is this you looking to get a quick buck? And I think that really pissed me off a lot of times too, because I said I viewed photography as a passion. Like I love it up until this day. Like I'm probably the hardest critique on myself. I would say I hate this,
Uh-huh.
and I'll scrap everything. A lot of people just jump into it. Mind you, it's okay, but they jump into it saying, "Oh, it's so easy. I can make money." I'm like, bro, if you ain't got that passion, you probably can make a quick buck, and then you can be like, "Yeah, this ain't for me."
You gonna quit?
Um, yeah, it is good. You have to realize like it's an investment. You're gonna have to go the long run. You're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to pay to get knowledge. See, I think I'm experienced, and I've been only doing wedding like professionally since I rebranded
Uh-huh.
for maybe I think it's 4 years, 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and I'm like I'm still investing, and I'm like, it's so much things I know now,
Uh-huh.
and I say, wow, look at that. I would have never thought about this back then. If I could implement what I know now into my business back then, it would have been so crazy. And I'm like, yeah, you learn, especially from bad experiences with clients, and you mature.
Uh-huh.
Um, especially in a saturated market. The Bahamas is a very saturated market with photographers. Like
Uh-huh.
I remember going off to school and I could literally count everyone on my hand who was a photographer. Sherrod, Donald Knowles, Vaughn Scriven,
Uh-huh.
Andrew,
Uh-huh.
Vado Colma, Gerard. I could count as maybe 10
Uh-huh.
photographers at in my time frame. And now you go online and you type in Bahamas 30, 40 plus photographers on our Wonderland Island. So I'm like, okay.
So how'd you separate yourself?
I think like when I came back home, I still did a lot of fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, okay, you love weddings. Because at one point I actually thought about weddings and I said, weddings, that's a lot of work. That's all I said. That's a lot of work. Like, there's the 4, 5, 6, 8 hours, 10, 12 hours on your feet. Just click, 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 click. Like literally sometimes my hands go numb. I'm like, yeah, this getting annoying now.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, that's easy money. And then I have one experience with a client, Greek girl. Me and her, I could even call Ashley. I have no problem calling her. I just tell people how it is. Um, Short a wedding, and it took me, I think it was like 6 months. Oh, 6 months to give her photos, and I didn't update her or anything. I was still fresh in doing weddings. I think this was
Mm.
I've done them before, but this was like probably my maybe fourth or fifth, like I would say, kind of official wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, Leo, I did not like the service. I did not like how it took you so long to do this. I love you. I support you. Me and you went to Cookman together. We're Greek, all of that. But I did not like. And she named out literally everything, and it took me a minute, and I was kind of pissed about it. I was pissed at her. I don't know why, and I was pissed at myself. And it took me a second to like gather everything, and then like from then I just say, okay, Leo, you have to. I apologize and everything, and I think that still plays on me. Not really so much, but I just say, okay, you don't want that to happen, especially with social media nowadays. It
True.
can make or break your business. So I said, okay, never go back to that experience. Learn from your mistakes. And I said, okay, what's going to separate you from everyone else?
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone likes to know, hey, you're Christian, hey, you're married, yada, yada, yada. But then I say, hey, that's not our our intent. Like we want to make sure we leave your legacy, thus Legacy Studios. And we deal with the client experience. So we want everything to just be, you don't have to do nothing. Like even on your wedding day, we find ourselves like, people always laugh. We say, "Oh, we can be your photographer, your your wedding planner, your stylist, your hairstylist,
Mm-hmm.
your makeup artist if we need to be." Like we find ourselves doing everything, and people don't realize it. And we say, "Look at it. After your wedding day, who you can still talk to after the wedding day? Your photographer. The wedding venue done gone. The caterer ain't giving you no more food. We have to connect with you every so often.
Mm-hmm.
You got married. You got your anniversary. You got a kid. Well, your maternity. You got a family. Then you start back all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be able to network, and I think that's what a lot of our clients love. Like we connect up until this day. I have about three
Mm-hmm.
clients who I met in high school. Well, met in college. Up until this day, like literally, like no matter what, like I could call them, hey, I in Orlando. Oh, Leo, you come. Let's go check. And did their undergrad graduation,
Mm-hmm.
master's graduation, engagement, wedding, and I keep on harassing the wife, just like me and you. Hey, when you getting pregnant now? It's about that time now. You done been married long before me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that fun connection, and like people love like that personality. So that's what me and Kev kind of bring to the table. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't look at it as, oh, it's a money business. Like we tell people like it ain't really about money for us. Like if we love it, we can do it. Yeah, we have our bills to get paid, which is straight off the bat. Hey, we gotta pay bills. You are a person and I'm a person. Don't expect us to, hey, yeah, no, we still people, we still run a company.
Mm-hmm.
But is that an overall experience you get what actually sets us apart? And that's what I think people really love about it.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing is that you got a lot of return customers. So it's not like you got to
Yeah,
go out and get new. It's like you come in one time, you're gonna have a phenomenal experience. You'll be back.
yeah, and then I think that's a lot of people don't realize like with
Mm-hmm.
photography, you don't have to search for customer. You deliver that one time presentation and they love it. they can come back. It's
And they were
easier,
first friends too.
yes, and it's easier to actually make a profit off returning clients than new clients because you have already built that relationship with them. You already have that trust,
Mhm.
so they already know. Okay, well, I don't mind. And then you find out with like when most businesses, for example, Starbucks. You go to Starbucks, you get that service. Oh, I love Their coffee might be trash, but you will go there just because that one person said, "Oh, how are you this morning? Can I do anything to make you feel good?" Simple things like that. Like we don't really look at it, but it influences us. Even if it's subconsciously, we'll always remember, oh, that experience that we had was very pleasant and we love that.
Mhm. Big facts. So let's go backwards a little bit. Tell me about your first year in the game, your first year photo shoot with the Fuji camera. Tell me like the lessons that you were
Ooh,
learning then, and then
my God, I was in
compared to where you are now. Like, do you have what do you have now? A Canon, a Sony? What you got now?
oh man, I wasn't learning crap. I think
Just doing it.
literally after I shot with it, I remember I think it was my birthday. I'm sure it was my birthday. I asked my mom and dad. I'm like, hey, I won this, and I think it was a Canon. This when they first came out of Rebel. It was a Canon EOS Rebel. Before they had the Rebel One, Rebel Two, it was the Rebel. So like,
I got a Rebel.
um, and did it. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. Used to shoot auto, and then I did my mentorship with my cousin for the 1 month.
Mhm.
And then he's like, yeah, bro, like this is what you gotta do. And oddly enough, like even though I did that mentorship, I tell people all the time, like, use what is given to you. Like I was like this when YouTube first came out. I was abusing YouTube for chalks. I'm like, okay, YouTube, I don't know what to do, but let me come Google and see what's going on. And that's what I did at the time. Then I slowly progressed. I got rid of the Fuji, um, got the Rebel,
Mhm.
destroyed the Rebel. The Rebel fell in salt water. Um, threw some water on it. Then I threw it in some what you call it, some rice. Because you know rice will soak up all
Oh,
the water.
yeah.
Still never worked. Came back maybe 3 years later. Actually tried to turn it on. It actually turned on, oddly enough, but never used it again.
Mhm.
Um, then I slowly progressed. I went from crop sensor to full frame. So now I have a Canon EOS R. So full frame, love it.
Are
Big
you
learning experience.
are you a diehard Canon like? Because I know that some people are like Sony and nothing else, Canon and nothing else. Are you one of those people?
At the time, I was because when like this is the thing, like you have to be so cognizant of, like I was like analytical when I was buying my camera. I'm like, okay, at the time, Sony and who else is out now?
Toshiba.
Hasselblad been out, but at the time, you only heard Sony. Yeah, at the time, all you heard was Sony and Nikon, and Sony. No, sorry, Canon and Nikon, Canon and Nikon. I'm like, okay, Canon. I'm looking at colors. I'm looking at price.
Mhm.
I'm looking at Nikon. I'm looking at price. I'm like, if I said, if I get this Nikon, I'm gonna have to spend like $3,000 on this lens. If I get this Canon, I spend $500 on this lens. I'm like, let's go with the cheaper option. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I'm like, bro, I was going into college. I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm like, bro, we going with the cheaper option,
Mhm.
and fell in love with it. I mean, like, hey, it was just something to get by. I wasn't thinking at the time, oh, you can be doing this. Like, it was just a passion. I'm like, okay, let me just get this camera. Let me just get this. And literally went on Amazon, got my $150 50 millimeter, and I just started adding on, adding on, adding on. And I'm like, okay, well, you can't go back now. Because if you go buy a Nikon now, you got to think about, oh, you got to swap lenses. They didn't have adapters at the time for you to alternate between the two. So it's like, you invested all this. You really about to throw this down the drain and go jump ship? It's like, yeah, okay, that don't make no sense. Um, but I mean, with now technology, I find like it's so much different things. Like, I shoot with the R, and mirrorless is the thing now.
Mhm.
I've shot with the Z, the Nikon Z. I haven't used a Sony, but I hear Sony is stupid crazy for videography. But Canon is now doing videography with the R6, and like it progresses. Like it's so much competition now. Like I know cameras that shoot with not cameras. I know photographers that shoot with like two cameras. They say, "Hey, I want to do photos. I'm gonna use this. I want to do video. I'm gonna use this." And I'm like, "That's totally understandable." So
You feel like you gotta continually upgrade?
yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to. Um, like for example, I had what was my camera before this? The 6D Mark II. And then everyone was like, "Oh well, you only under 60, the 70, what it was, no, what it was, oh man, the Mark 3 came out, then the Mark 4, then they went to the R. So I was still on six the 6, and I was like 3 already ahead of me, and I'm like,
Hmm.
bro, and I kept looking at it. I'm like, do you really need it? And then after a time, I kind of rented an R, and I said, okay. It was mirrorless. That's when mirrorless just started to get popping,
Hmm.
and it was a major difference. And I'm like, yeah, you got me. And I
Exactly.
just like money. I just said take it. I literally just said take it, and from then I said, okay, some people have an addiction now. Like every year they'll say, swap, swap, swap. I'm like, yeah, I know a few people well. And I said, yeah, that ain't me. I ain't got that cake like that. I'm like, I'll be satisfied. If it ain't broke, don't fix it
That's what I'm
until it broke. Yeah, until it broke, then I can be like, oh, okay, maybe we time to jump ship now. But other than that, yeah, I think you still have to upgrade every so often because your talent, your productivity, everything in your business, you're gonna have to spend money to get more money, if that makes sense.
saying.
And equipment is definitely one of the things. Um, Photos, editing software, computer, monitors, all of that you're gonna have to invest in yourself. And a lot of people don't really think that way. They think, oh, I could just stick to this old school, stuck in their habits. And I'm like, bro, you ain't going nowhere.
You know,
Slowly see people, yeah, going forward, and you're just like, well, why like this? And hey, you never changed. And I mean, it's fine for some people. Some people get comfortable. Um, I look back and I still see photographers who I knew in 2009 that still has the exact same editing style, same picture quality, and I just say, okay. I mean, people still come to them for that. That's their repetitive clients and stuff. I say, okay, you still having that income flow, but then some people just want to branch out and they just want to be totally different
right,
and just
man, because that sounds like, and you kind of said it. It sounds like if you don't upgrade your software, you don't upgrade your camera, you don't upgrade your skills, you're gonna be stuck with a certain clientele. Because
yeah,
obviously you ain't like I ain't saying like, well, let's say you were still in the fashion lane. If you were trying to do a photography for GQ, for Vogue, and you got the Fuji, like you said, you ain't touching them because they got the Canons, the Nikons, and they got the $2,000 lenses that's
yep,
this high. You ain't touching them.
yeah. And then I say, like, remember, like what you just said, like you have to invest in yourself. Like I've done some crazy stuff. Like people say, "Oh well, what the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about me. Like I have the skill set to pull off things like you don't really, you can't. Like I've been in seminars and I've done a whole iPhone photo shoot. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, what you doing an iPhone photo shoot? I'm like, bro, I left my SD card home. My battery died. Something. Let me just take pictures of you on my iPhone. They're like, that can come out. When you look at the pictures, they be like, oh, these look like legit photo. Like, yeah, like you invest in me and say, I will pay for a $5 app on my phone.
Leo,
I will pay for a $5 to $10 app that allows me
see,
to shoot raw like my camera, and I will shoot it. And I say, okay, well, you thought I couldn't.
Leo, real moment. That's why I'm like, why you got to keep upgrading? Why I got to spend $2,000, $3,000 on it? First of all, hold on, let's back up. How much? What? How much have you spent on a? What's the most that you spent on a
On a
camera?
camera?
On a camera, and then a camera lens, because I know those are two different.
Um, the lenses are actually more than cameras now.
Exactly.
So I say 18 for the camera. Um, my God, now I gotta Google. I don't even
This
know
was
how much
this is a
my lens
Canon.
cost. I actually want, yeah, my Canon, my R. I actually want someone, please help me. Please book me for a wedding. I want a lens to shoot your wedding. Thank you. Um,
We talking
so
like,
the lens I have right now,
uh-huh.
I think that's about the same as my camera, in all honesty. Um,
I
two
thought,
grand
oh, okay. I thought you was
is
finna
more than my camera. It's more than my camera, so 2 grand.
I thought you was finna say 5 figures, but that's still more than the camera
Oh
itself.
no, bro, no, no.
Oh
If you
man.
count them dot zero zeros, yeah. So 2 grand. But I mean, hey, like you look at it like the people say, oh man, you and I tell people all the time, you could have a cheap body
Mm-hmm.
camera. Like I've had numerous cheap bodies, like
Mm-hmm.
old school. Like I could drop my camera and that bad boy will bounce. Versus these new camera, you drop it and oh well, that's down the drain. Um, you invest in some lens. I think the lenses actually make the image what it is. I mean, the camera does as well. Quality, range, color, all of that. But if you want some really crazy photos, like once you start investing in lenses, it's
Mm-hmm.
gets to be an addiction. Um, that's like when I trained my wife. Like she was like she did like certain things because I was at a much higher level at the time because I've been doing it longer. And when we got married, and she was like, "Oh, what you using?" I'm like, "This," and it's like, "Oh, let me use that." And I was like, oh, "Okay, use it." And it's like her now, it's her lens now, which is kind of annoying. Because anytime I'm like, "Where the hell my lens?"
What was yours
Oh,
or mine? Or was
it in
mine
my
gone?
bag. I'm like, "Bro, can you please give me my lens? Like, go away, give me my lens." So she and she kind of got it. Like she actually got it. She was like, I see the difference now. And I'm like, yeah, like, and it took her a while. It took her like a year to buy her new camera. And I said, that's just what it is. Like, you have to invest in yourself sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
you look at it like, oh, I gotta pay all of this. But then when you look at the long run and you start seeing your images and people start, oh yeah, your photos done switch. Like it was like this, then just whoop.
Right. Right.
So it is a big investment. Photography is a big investment.
If you're
From
trying to do
classes
something,
to seminars to products, and people think like, oh, it's so. I'm like, no, dude. Like, if you want to make money and do something that you're passionate about, like, you
mm-hmm.
might just say, okay, I stopped photography. You can still have the passion. You might stop photographing people,
Mm-hmm.
but you might still have the passion to just you going on vacation. What you can do? Take an iPhone photo. You ask the average photographer that's done it for a while. They can carry their camera and they can bring out all their lenses. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do it all the time. We go to when we went to Switzerland for our honeymoon in Chicago. I was like, brother, I pack in my big suitcase and I have my camera. I was like, we can take this picture
Mm-hmm.
because I already know what I want, even if it's just documenting the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We have a tendency to look at photos as everlasting. You look back at some photos back in the day, you'd be like, wow, I didn't even remember this happening. And that's what it is. Still that cognizant mindset that, okay, if I see a picture back 20, 30 years, I'm going to remember it just like how it was that day.
Mm-hmm. Man. So so for those of y'all
Mhm.
who are aspiring photographers who trying to be big time like Leo, Go cheap on the
Okay.
body, go expensive on the lens, and master your editing skills. Because that's what I
Okay.
heard. Because when you said, "Oh yeah, I can take it on the iPhone, do it on my apps," you can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Because even me, like sometimes, like everything has its own place. Because I know this session about business and all of that.
Mm.
I used to self-manage myself, and I used to fall back, and I'm like, oh, Cam emailed me. What's the day? Thursday. I didn't respond to him until Tuesday. You might have done lost interest. So I had to invest in certain things, and I'm like, okay, get yourself a content management system. I don't gotta pay no one. My system just does everything. I don't gotta do taxes or none of that. It files everything for me. I get backed up on editing. If I do a wedding today, a wedding on Saturday, and I have work through the week, and I have like two more other sessions, that ain't happening. So I can say, okay, send it to one of my labs, let them cull the images, I mean, cut down the images, let them retouch. I just pay them and just like, hey, do this. So everything you have to look at making a profit. And that's what people don't really notice. When they get into it, they just say, oh, I'm gonna do this for this price. It's okay in the beginning, but then just like your equipment, if you want $2,000 equipment, you can continually charge $100.
You got to make your money back.
Exactly. So that's why I was saying. Remember, I was saying the return client is where you actually make your investment.
Right.
If you already done did them twice, and your set and your session go up like $400,
Uh-huh.
they can just say, okay, you already done did them twice. They already know your personality, your style, what you can give them, so they have no problem paying you more.
Right.
Versus a new person, you trying to explain to them, oh well, this is why I charge this. Yeah, this is why, this is what you need to do. That's too much stress. That's too much hassle.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, like you have to learn how to make a profit for yourself. You don't want to be coming out of pocket to do things. Like if you want to make money, that's how it is.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to be like, oh, let me buy this camera. I just got a wedding gig, $2,000. Okay, the camera costs $2,300. You're still digging in your pocket. You don't need to be digging in your pocket. Use that money. So it's like all of that you have to work out and strategically plan. Some things you look at it, you losing money, but it's actually helping you gain money.
Right. Man, so you had this mindset, you had all this passion from the age of sounds like 18, 19.
Yeah,
So
about that.
so what was it like to have this passion to do these photo shoots, but then have to go to class and sit in biology, sit in history, sit in
Yeah,
psychology? What was it like balancing that? Because you finished, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you ain't drop out. You
First
you
of all,
got
we
PhD.
graduate. Come on, man. First of
Of
all.
course. Don't start that. Don't, because not everybody graduates.
Okay, I take it back. I take it back. I don't think it was an issue. Because I kind of struck like when I remember when I just went off, I was fresh into college.
Mhm.
Um, didn't really know anything. I was still dabbling in photography.
Mm,
Um, and then after I think the first year I went to college, they asked me to actually shoot the school's, what is it, magazine at the time? Yeah. So they had a school's magazine.
mhm.
And I remember doing it right on Beach Street, all of that. I probably could even find the photos. It was a green hue photo. They had newspaper, old school vintage vibe. Um, and then I kind of thought, okay, Leo, if you in Florida, you want to go travel, you're gonna move around, you got to set up a way whereas you could do these stuff, especially if people can pay you in the States. Like,
Mhm.
so I think I worked it around, college was the first class in the morning, like 8 o'clock, 8 to like maybe 5 undergrad.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, be strategic in whichever days you play out. And I was really cool with my professors. So if I needed to jump out to do something, they were like, okay, well, Leo's gonna make up the work. We don't have to really stress about it. Other than that, I kind of focused more on my education. I'm like, if you drop out, your mom can kill you. Like, she brought you into this world, you gonna get taken out. Like, legit, you ain't coming back. So I was like, yeah, let's just do this on weekends. I'm sorry. I was so I had to be strategic. I was like, you could get away with some, but not every day. Like, nah, you better stick to them weekends. And I mean, that's what I kind of do. So
Mm-hmm.
I was either in Daytona on Friday, Saturday, I was either in Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami, just do a quick 5 hour, 4 hour drive, and then back up
Was this like every
Sunday.
month?
Like every weekend or every other weekend. Because like I was trying to network, like I was still
Yeah.
fresh and I wanted to know, I wanted to test the waters. So like I was reaching out to like agencies to say, hey, I want to do testing with one of your models. This is my style. And that's one thing my mentor definitely taught me up front early. Have a website. Instagram wasn't around back then like that. Um, so I had a website. I'm like, I'm gonna pay this every month, this fee. But then people got to see my work.
Right.
And that was the business thing back then. Like you have business cards, you have websites. Oh, you professional. Yeah, bro, I professional.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna look at you totally different than, hey, just some pictures I done shot. I could send you them.
On your phone.
Oh, yeah. So that's how I kind of did it. I kind of like network a lot. Did like pop-up events and went to some shows in Orlando, and I was like, okay, let me know what this about, and joined some Facebook community groups, and that's how I kind of got
Hold up.
to where it was.
Where is the college located?
What, Daytona?
No, the college that you went to. Where is it located?
Yeah, my undergrad Daytona.
Daytona. So you going from
Yeah,
Daytona
Cookman.
to Orlando?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
Okay. Wait.
45.
No, it's 45 minutes, but
Yeah,
you from the Bahamas. You ain't got no car.
bro. See, okay, we had all kind of things. I was either asking my frat brother. Let me see. At the time, I didn't have a car, so what I would
Right.
do is it wasn't my frat brothers at the time, but it was my boys.
Yeah.
Because my two roommates were alphas, and I say, hey, and all us from the Bahamas. I say, I don't go Orlando. Uh, I'll cover gas or some crap,
Mm-hmm.
and they say, oh, okay, let's go. We jump Orlando. I go shoot or whatever I need to do, and they go chill out somewhere because they've been Greek before me, and they've been living in Florida for 2 years plus more than me, so they know everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
just say, hey, well, I won't go here, and they say, okay, cool. And then after that, let me see. I got my first car, 2012. That's when I went Greek, so that was my June sophomore year, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that first what does he call it, freshman year, I kind of stick to the Daytona area.
Right.
Kind of didn't move much just so I didn't want to go anywhere.
Right.
Then when I started to branch out and do a lot of things, I'm like, oh well, Orlando is definitely the model market. And
Mm-hmm.
then I went to Orlando, and then from Orlando I was like between there and Lauderdale. So I used to get a lot of rental car miles. Like Enterprise was like my best friend. So yeah, bro. Like a lot. Like literally every week I was in a rental.
I can't skip past that because you saying this mighty casually, and not a lot of people have that fortitude to keep that up. Because you saying every single one, you are in a whole nother country. I don't think people are realizing it. You in a whole nother country and you got a spirit to like hustle and work. So you saying like every weekend you was trying to get something scheduled from Daytona. Then you knew, okay, it's time for me to level up. I gotta invest in a car. I need to drive. I need something because I gotta get to Orlando. Boom. Okay, now I'm killing it in Orlando. I gotta get because you slid Fort Lauderdale. No, you talking about Miami. Like I'm
Yeah, Miami,
talking about
Lauderdale.
that
Yeah, I was
speed.
in my
I'm like,
yeah.
that ain't no short. you had like the hustle to go out and make it happen, and all while you still getting your degree. Because I know people who dropped out, like, oh, my photography is taking off, I'm done. Let me just focus on photography. But you said, no, I'm a one. My mama gonna kill me
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
drop out.
I couldn't get that.
I gotta finish, but I'm gonna still chase my passion. I'm gonna still upgrade and do what I need to do to get that. That's a big deal, man.
Thank you, thank you.
You don't see it as
Yeah,
a big deal, but that is a big deal.
I never thought about it like that because it was just I just love to do it. Like it was fun. I mean, like, okay, well, you got to pay this. And I'm like, I think the only thing that really kind of discouraged me at the time from traveling and doing all of that was like the rental process, because underage, and then you gotta pay your underage fees, and then you gotta give them more money to put on the car. And I'm like, bro, if you about to go this place, you about to get like 3 shoots,
Right. You better make some
three to
money.
four shoots. You got to do some, unless it was like some instances I just wanted to go. I
Hmm.
kind of just have like fun. So I'd go, like, for example, I have my aunt in Lauderdale, so I'll say, okay, uh, Thursday, I'll say, okay, I'm gonna hit the road Friday at 3 o'clock.
Hmm.
By, was it 3, 4, 5, 6? About 7 o'clock, I in Lauderdale.
Hmm.
Cool. I there 7 o'clock Friday. Saturday I shooting all day from like 8 o'clock to about maybe 5 in the afternoon. I maybe have like 3, 4 shoots back to back, same location. I
Right.
say, hey, I here, let's go.
Meet me here. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just roll, just roll, just roll, just roll. And then I say, okay, bam. Sunday I have my little rest, and then I say, okay, time to hit the road. Probably leave Lauderdale like maybe 12 o'clock or so, and
Mm.
then I just cruise it to Daytona. And like that was like twice every weekend, or well, twice every month or every weekend for a month. And then I just consistently do. And I mean, sometimes I just tell people heads up. I say, hey, I come in.
Hmm.
These my rates. I'll be providing XYZ.
Hmm.
And they say, okay, that's cool with me. Give me a deposit. We locked in. Go from there. Or if it's just fun, if I just felt like just driving to Lauderdale, I'll just drive there and I'll just say, okay, let me think of something creative I could do.
Yeah.
And then I'll just reach out and say, hey, I'm in town. It's only a limited time I can be here. I don't know when I'm coming back because I honestly just never know. Um, and then I just move from there because I was still trying to do a lot. Still trying to do the degree. Still try to travel the states because I wanted to do like different states while I was in college.
Mm.
Um, Try to travel abroad because they have like what is it called, like
Study abroad.
study abroad program. So I was doing all of that, and I'm like, okay, well, you better do it now because once you reach up there and your grade level, you ain't gonna really want to do too much,
Hmm.
just to focus on graduating. So I try to do a lot of it as my freshman,
Hmm.
sophomore, and early junior year. So my senior year, I can really focus on what it is I need to get done.
Man, that's you just kept working, bro. I get it. So tell me when you made the transition from this is a good hustle, I'm making good money, like it's a passion, like you love what you're
Yeah.
doing, but you transition from hustle to business. Tell me what that transition was like.
I can't even remember because it was just so smooth. Like it was just like,
Mhm.
okay, well, stop this, do this. I think it was actually it was the last wedding I did in Florida. I can't remember. Well, the last wedding before I moved here. Um, I think I photographed an individual at my college, and I think that's when it kind of stuck to me. Is like, okay, well, wedding was my niche. Fashion, glamour is okay.
Uh-huh.
Um, but my degree is in PR, so I'm like, you're really a people person, so wouldn't kind of weddings work out in your favor? And I was like, I don't know. I know it's a lot of stress. And I just said, hey, let me just give it a try.
Uh-huh.
And then started to do more of it, progressively doing. And I said, okay, it's kind of interesting, kind of fun.
Hmm.
Thought about it in the beginning. I was like, oh, that's easy money. That's easy money. But then I kind of realized it wasn't about money. Um, just because I know how important a wedding is to people.
Correct.
That's their life. That's their you want to call it their livelihood. You could lose a fashion shoot and be like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But a wedding is totally different. And I just said, okay. And at the time, I recently moved back home and I said, okay, because let me see, it's 2021. So that's like my third year home. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I said, okay, I want to do something different. And I had my website, my fashion, and I said, okay, when you go home, people can still remember you as, oh, you do fashion. I was like, I really don't want to be known for that. And then I said, okay, separate the two.
That's where legacy came from.
That's where legacy came from. And I said, okay, it's gonna be an investment. I'm like, you can lose basically everything leocreary.com
Hmm.
driven, fashion, lifestyle, glamour, all of that. You people, if you really do this, ain't no one gonna remember that no more.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, all right, pray about it, go forward with it. I said, okay, cool. Do legacy, show a bunch of wedding photos. Don't put Leo Creary on there because if you put Leo Creary, they can say, oh,
That's the
you
fashion guy.
doing like it's like, oh, you doing? I'm like, no, 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 it's totally different. And it took a while. It's still building. I literally just checked my SEO,
Mhm.
search engine optimization yesterday, and we are, I think it's 6 on photographers in the Bahamas. Like on the first landing page, like when I did it, we
Mhm.
were like on the ninth, 10th page, and it wasn't picking up my website. It wasn't picking. The only thing it was actually picking up was my Instagram page, which is Leo Query. And I was like, bro, come on,
That's not
really?
what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, like really, like anything else you could pick
Mhm.
up. You want to pick up that? I'm like, so, and it took a while, and I just said, okay, this is what it's gonna be. You just have to fully immerse yourself in it,
Mhm.
study, learn business, keep developing, spend more money. Like wedding industry is a big investment. People always say, oh, especially with our products, like what you see is posted online. People are like, oh, I'm like, bro, like no, like y'all don't realize like we is a way and certain things we do and why we say it, and we have so much vendors and like we network our butts off, like, and I think that's what helps me. I glad I kind of did it. I don't think I would have been as business oriented as I am now if I kind of stayed in my then niche, which would have been fashion. I would have just been like, oh, let me just shoot.
Yeah.
Um, but wedding has truly grown me to be more business oriented. Definitely networking, definitely expenditure with my funds, income, thinking outside the box to actually do creative stuff.
Yeah.
Um, People don't really think you could be creative in wedding photography, but trust me, you can. Like, even when I design products and stuff, like people are like, how the hell you done that? I'm like, trust me, if I see something, I could shoot your wedding, I could do this, and then I'll just go off on a tangent and just do my own thing. Even on the wedding day, people see me doing weird stuff like, what you doing? I'm like, don't worry about me. I good.
Mhm.
So, and then there's a time to be creative as well. I think doing wedding photography, you get to push yourself to be a little bit more creative with the clients if they're open to that. Um, you're not really restricted to what an individual in a fashion industry, hey, we want this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can do it. No, we want this. I'm like, all right then. Then you just got to live with it. You
Mhm.
get a little bit more flexibility with weddings.
Mm. So tell me why you never branched out to videography, because I know some photographers do both.
Hmm.
Or are you? Or are you?
So I tried it once, had a bad experience. Yeah, had a bad experience. I had everything going, and I was like, it was a good video until I realized I did not plug in the microphone on the gimbal
Mm-hmm.
to record the vowels.
Leo.
Yes, bro.
You
This
get
was
the
like
microphone to
early.
the
I like,
vowels.
and I said, she was like, I don't hear anything, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you're not.
I don't hear the vowels. I'm like, what? And I said, from that, I was like,
Yeah, nah.
I mean, oddly enough, I do video now. Like I do more creative stuff. Like people see a post, and I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I could do it. Like if I'm very into it, I could do it. But the full on videographer, I'm like, bro, that's a lot of work, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
rather do, I rather lead. Like I like to take the creative lead and be a director and be like, hey, you do that, I do this. I want it to look like this. So I find myself like when we travel or we have like clients, I say, hey, I want videography. I say, hey, what kind of style you want? And I bring on my videographer team. And I say, this is who he is, this is who she is, whatever. And I say, bam, that's included in the price. Oh, pay more.
Man,
So I have like my associates.
y'all see how he just flexed on. He said, "I hire somebody out for that." I give him.
Yeah, trust me,
Y'all
I
see how
do
he just
not
flexed on
like
us like that.
trust myself.
Nah, but that's for real. That's what you do because you when you are, how do I put this? When you're a master at what you do, like at your craft, you know when you need to find somebody else to do something else.
Yeah.
So like photography is like it for you, and you'll bring on a videographer who's passionate about videography. So yeah, that
Yeah,
makes all the sense in the world.
because I like because there's so much things I do, but I try to not tell people because then they be like, "Oh, you do." I'm like, no. If it's certain, like a lot of people, like I do graphic designs, and when I do like that's like when I make these stupid albums, and people like, "Oh my god!" I'm like,
Mm,
that's the graphic design coming out of me mixed with the photography. Then
right.
they say, "Oh, what about this?" I'm like, no, you done pushing it now. Then I start to get, was it confuddled, and I say no, and then I lose creative direction, and I try to
Mm,
keep it within line because like sometimes I promise people all the world, and I'll be like, "Why the hell you done said all that? Like really?" And then I mean I deliver, but then I realized like you can stress yourself out, and I just said,
yeah,
rather than stress yourself out, just charge more.
yeah,
Have someone else do it so you don't have to worry about it. And then it's easy on me because I don't want to do it.
yeah.
So, like, that's like with me and Kevo. Like, if I don't want to do a wedding, babe, what you doing?
It's all for the legacy. It's all for the
Yeah,
business,
that's like
baby.
what you want to do, and she'll do the same thing with me. She'll say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I'm so tired." I'm like, "What?" And then she'll just look at me. You want to do this? I'm like, "Bro, really?" I'm like, "Whatever." So it's like we like shuffle because I mean, like if I can't take a wedding, sometimes I'll say, "Hey, I know someone that can," and I don't put my name to everyone.
Right.
And I think that's one thing people have to realize. Like your brand is everything.
Mm-hmm.
If I refer you, and I tell people this all the time, I do not refer everyone. I have a select few people who I work with, and I say, hey, their work is up to my standards.
Mm-hmm.
There might be more, their price might be more, their price might be less, but these are the people I trust within my circle.
Right.
And they value that. And I say, okay, good. Once you okay, I okay. Because I don't want to hear, oh well, Leo recommended them and Leo and they were not good. I'm like, no. Keep my name out there. Keep it out. Nope. That's
Right.
why I don't give it out freely. I be like, no.
That's just like, and maybe you experienced this in the frat. That's just like your frat brother coming to you say, "Hey, bro, hook me up on such so." Bro, you was just with oh girl the other night. You ain't trying to. No, I'm not putting my name on you. You gonna ruin my good name. So I definitely feel you on that. But let's not speed past that.
No, you good.
With you and Kiva. Uh, how has that transition been? Because you went from,
Client.
I'm a hustle. I'm gonna go out and get it. I'm building my own brand. So now you get married, and then you say, "I'm gonna work with my wife."
Yeah, and I think
What was that
that
like?
was the initial. I think that was the initial process. Like I was thinking about it from before.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember I was saying I did legacy about 4 years, 5 years, maybe about four.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I met Kevo because when I moved back home, I moved home in 20,
Things at 18,
2017.
2017.
17. I moved home in 2017, and that's when I met Kevo in
Mm.
2017. And like that's when I was like, okay, well, you don't know if this can be your wife, or we wasn't even dating at the time. And I was just like, she's a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
you're a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Think long term. You don't want to say, okay, Kevo Query photography, even though she still has that. I have Leo Query photography. I still love that. But you should have something together.
Mm-hmm.
So versus I go to a wedding. Oh, is it Leo Query photography or is it Kevo Query photography that shooting me?
Neither.
Will make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like subconsciously I was thinking ahead of time to say, okay, legacy, that's one brand in its own. Okay, well, use the CEO, so your wife should already be right there. And I think that's how it tied in. Um, so she uses the brand itself when she does her thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it all umbrellas under us. Some people say, hey, I want exactly Kevin to shoot it. And I say, okay, that's fine with me. I don't care. I can still show up anyways, just feed me. And same thing with her. She could just feed me, bro.
And surely enough, she was at our wedding.
Yeah,
I wasn't
and I tell
mad.
people,
She was there.
and people say it all the time. I say, bro, once you get one, you can get two.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically getting the best of both worlds. Like when we did the Colorado shoot, she ended up just coming with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like she wasn't planning on really shooting, but she just said, okay, well, you can go to Colorado without me. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like if you have a brand with your wife and you traveling a lot, especially in photography, you better be willing to bring them with you everywhere. So, I'm lenient with her. Like if she goes home, as in Bimini, like I'll say, okay, you could go. But if she goes somewhere else, I'm like, yeah, you better bring me, or vice versa. And she'd be like, oh, you can bring me. I'm like, yeah. And I think that's what makes our clients feel
Mm-hmm.
like family.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it too many. Oh, what, is Gava coming? Is Gava coming? Is Leo coming? And even if it's just a regular session, they always ask for
Both.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just the overall experience. Even if they've never met us, they always say, "Is the other significant other coming?" And I think that's what that kind of makes us happy because we know like our clients are actually excited to meet all two of us,
Right.
and we both have different attributes we bring to the session. So it's like I'm the more creative one. So I'll tell even if Kevin's shooting, she'll say, Leah, what you think? And I'll guide. I'll say, you should go here. This is what you should do. Bam, bam, bam. And Kevin will shoot it. Like on my shoots, I have all the creative. I'm shooting and she'll be in the back doing BTS or she will be helping me to get the client more comfortable or talking or something like that to converse with the client. So all of us have our role to play within
Yeah.
our little niche.
That makes all the sense in the world. So has so not everybody can transition so gracefully into doing business with their spouse. So has there been any challenges with that? I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know.
I kind of don't know. I don't think so. Let me see. I don't think so.
Yeah, in the honeymoon
I
phase.
gotta think. No, I gotta think. Because like, see, like I can't really say because sometimes we argue about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's where I was saying the content management system comes into play
Right.
because it happened to us twice. Like she'll have a session,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll go ahead and book a session. And be like, you know, I have a session. I didn't told, and then she'll go, oh, I didn't told you I had a session. I'm like, bro, I gotta remember. All husbands is forget. Like that's our thing. We forget, bro. I can't remember. No, 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 I had it on the calendar. And I'm like, oh my God, I can chew out. And I said, bro, this is not fun. So,
Mhm.
because in my head, I'm like, you shooting, I shooting. Wouldn't you want to make more money? No, that's besides the point. I had to shoot at this time and you're supposed to be on the shoot. So I'm like, okay, then, sorry, my bad. So, so, so we have our arguments like that every once in a while. But I kind of plead the fifth. I got better at it. Trust me, bro. Like literally, our calendars are synced to the T. Like everything, bro.
Okay.
Like I have to continually look at my calendar to
Mhm.
make sure nothing is overlapping. Like
I see it. Hey.
yeah, like she is in one color, I'm in one color, and if she says, "Oh, I wanna," like today when we set this up, she's
Mhm.
like, "Call at what time we started? 6. So originally it was supposed to be what is it, 5:30 for."
Right.
She's like,
She's like, what?
she was like, "Huh?" I was like, "I already told you about this. We had to push it back." And then she's like, "Oh, okay, okay," because she's actually a dance right now. So she is like always something. As soon as she went off the dance, I was like, "Remember, I have a call at 6. So by time 6 o'clock, I can start. You can go." So we had to constantly shift, and I mean, it's a learning process. Hey, it's business. We rarely argue about anything, and we try to keep it like simple because some people go off in their business. They be like, "Oh, you in the business with your significant other? That's about
Yeah.
hell." Like, nah, bro. Like, and
Yeah.
I
'Cause
think that's where we kind of,
it sounds like y'all don't have an ego.
yeah. And I say, I don't think we're the norm. We're outside of the norm because
Mhm.
she has a passion for it. I have a passion for it. So it's like they say, the two shall become one. So it's like nothing to us. So
Mhm.
when people see us together working, it's like flowing. Like we don't worry about nothing. We just like, okay, we had to shoot, we had to work,
Mhm.
go from there, call it a day, go home. It isn't like stressful like some people like if you're working in a kitchen or something or in a shop.
Mhm.
Oh, I gotta deal with this all day. No, no, no. We come on, we literally have our schedule. Like she
Mhm.
just came back from Bimini.
Mhm.
Uh she already started dumping photos. I'm like, why you just don't rest? You shot for like 2 days nonstop. No, I gotta get these photos. I said, okay, like stay in my business. And then I go work on whatever I need to do. And then when she finished, it's like clockwork. So I already know her tendencies. She knows my tendencies. Just because we share the same passion, I know she wants to get stuff done. So it's more time for us. Whereas I'll procrastinate and say, okay, it's more time for us in the beginning.
Mhm.
And then I'll say, okay, time to rush. So it's like give and take. So it's pretty easy to throw around.
Man, when I do a bit, not necessarily a business season, but a spouse working together series, I'm gonna need both of y'all on in the future.
God.
This won't
Yeah.
this ain't coming up no time
I
soon.
can have a record. I can have a share this and be like, listen to what I said, and don't you go back and say your own thing. Cause she'll be like, nah, you know it don't go like that. Trust me, I already know it's coming. I know it coming.
Bruh, who you think
Trust
you
me, I
talking
know.
to? Come on
I
now.
know.
You know I know. Um Man, so you saying you traveling this, you been just came back from here, you came back from there. When does a photographer know that they've arrived? Well, as far as like the traveling stuff,
Mhm.
because you just lightly flex, because you in Nassau, the home
Yeah.
base in Nassau. So boom, client Fort Lauderdale. Hey, bro, we need you to come over, hit the Miami Beach. Hey, bro, we need you to come to, or hey, bro, we need you to come to. We need you to come to. When how does that work? Like that traveling photographer life.
So I don't think it's ever a time,
Mm-hmm.
like a definite, like, hey, this weekend, I think I can stop photography. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's more of just when to relax, and you get to that point where you say, okay, like this the time I gotta decentralize and get a rest. Um, at that point right now, I don't think we there yet. Um, and especially with me, I try to branch out a lot. Um, so this year, like because I lived in Florida, I say Florida's my next home base.
Right.
Um, Last year and the beginning of this year, I started to find that I have a lot more Atlanta clients
Mm,
because I've been working on my SEOs and networking in that region. So I'm like, okay, maybe you should maybe think about making Atlanta a next base, and then you keep branching. Like I want to do more international stuff. I find that oddly enough, being home, I have way more international clients than I have local clients. And I
meaning
always tell
you got
people
more,
that,
meaning you got more clients in the States?
and I
Mm,
don't even post anything in the States. Like they just find me and I say, oh, I'm like, but I'm here and
that's
everyone know me here, but
yeah.
y'all the one. So it's like weird. So I just said, okay, well, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
So, and I think another thing that actually pushes me is that when I knew how I was, well, I love being all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
um, been to Europe, been to Africa, been all of that, did it. And when I married Keva, she never really experienced that.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, she was because island gals, they sorry, girls, careful, kill me.
Nah, talk your
Um,
island gal. Feel like the first
yeah.
time.
so so she never really she stayed in her Bimini and then she maybe go to the next island and then she come to Nassau and then everyone go to Florida. Um, then she went New York and Canada, but she never branch out like spread her wings. Whereas I've been there, done that,
Mm-hmm.
I good. So I think that kind of pushes me to say, okay, well, before you don't have your kid, or when you reach a certain age, you want to go X amount of places, or you want to do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it as my photography is helping build my relationship with her to take her these places and to actually explore my adventurous side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just so because like when we got married, she never saw snow. And I said, okay, well, I saw snow once and I was in Canada. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, well, you already been Canada. I already been Canada, but you never saw snow. So I said, okay, all of these I already had it in my mind. I said, okay, not telling her where we going. I already had in my mind said, okay, we can brand and do legacy together. That'll be our wedding company.
Mm-hmm.
And by internalizing myself, I said, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to use your photography platform to travel. So took her to Switzerland. People say, "Oh, y'all go here." Yeah, we go here. Why you don't book us? Oh, you go here. Yeah, why you don't book? So it's like people get to see us going X, Y, Z, and oh, y'all living in luxury. Like I'm like, no, we ain't living in luxury. We actually working, but
Yep.
it's a pot. Like people look at it like, oh, you do. I'm like, bro, it's a passion for us. They think we having fun, and I mean, we
But
do
y'all
have
are
fun.
having fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we having fun, but the different type of fun. Oh, you living it up. And I'm like, no, this is very modest. Like we do not want to go crazy over top, going these 5, 7 star hotels, and we do it for the experience. And that's what I am. Like
Yeah.
I like places that are not really commercialized, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, when people say they come in Nassau, oh, take me to fish fry. No, bro, I can take you to to some spots, like some juk corners, and you can go eat here
Real
and do
spot.
all of
The
that.
real local
Yeah,
spot.
and they get to experience that is a big
Yeah.
difference than going to like a conglomerate. Oh, let's go to McDonald's. Like, bro, you can have McDonald's
Without
in
question.
Florida anytime you want.
Without question.
Like, why you gonna go McDonald's?
Well, I
So
gotta correct you, Leo. That
I
y'all,
think
y'all's are a little different. Like y'all's commercial, like y'all's KFC and our KFC, completely different. Not
yeah,
even.
we know y'all KFC is terrible and salty.
There you go. So let's sometimes, yeah, but continue.
Yeah, and I think that kind of drives me to make sure she
Mm-hmm.
experience and appreciates. I know she does. Um, but it fulfills me. Like I know she never really did it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was blessed to do it in college and doing all of that. So now my husband, I'm like, okay, well, if people book you to go X, you gotta bring her.
Yeah.
Um, just like the Colorado, the clients booked me, and I said, I want you to pay for my wife. And they say, oh, okay. I say, yeah, pay for her. No, she got to come with me. So like, and I think that's where it comes into play, where
Yeah.
the two shall become one. Y'all gonna enjoy all of this together. Because I don't want to be alone. I mean, I got me going exploring and having my fun in some place she never been, and then she feel left out. And when I come back home, is an issue. So I think in the end is really all for her.
Mm-hmm.
Just for her and the passion and the memories we experienced together. Just so she feels that I appreciate her and she could come anywhere with me. Even if I don't go someplace, like I make sure she good. I'm the adventurous type. I'm the type to, and I think she keeps me in check when I go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have the tendency before her, like if I go someplace, I pray about it. I say, okay, this flight is so and so. All right, book the ticket the next day. 2 days later, I on the plane. I so and so, and I will explore. I will get lost, and that's why I think I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like when I went to Paris, like literally, I know French, so I could speak it. Little reading signs. I said, okay. I literally got off the TGV, the train,
Mm-hmm.
walked through the terminal. I was like legit. It's like you been here before. I'm like no. They're like, but you look like you've been. I was like, trust me, I could do anything once I done. I look, go and explore, get lost.
Mm-hmm.
If anything happened, God got me. Then I come back in, and then I say, oh well, I did this and that and that, and that is not the norm. And I think she keeps me in check with that because she know I'll go and do it. Be like, what, really? Like you got to keep safe. You ain't in these places. You not from here. Da, da, da. I'm like, I just can't just go. Like really,
Different.
I just can't go get lost. And I think that's where it comes into fun because when I take her with me, sometimes we get lost. It's like, what the hell we done did now? I'm like, it's an experience. Like you get to go in a new place, you meet new people. Like, and I think that's
Like,
where I build a lot of my relationships too. Like when I was in Africa, the taxi man that know me every time I go back to my college, I hear my professor saying, "Oh yes, you know Raul is asking for you every." I say, "Yeah." So if I know I go Morocco again,
mm-hmm.
I know who I calling. So it's all about building and experiencing. You're building your worth. You're building your worth in this kingdom and the kingdom above. So
Oh, of course, no, without question. But I love that you're being smart about it. Like you aren't just like because I look up and be like, hold up, Leo and Kiva in Switzerland. Well, that's where y'all went for. Hold on, they in Colorado. Hold on, it's a
yep.
and it's like nah, we live in life, but we also
Mhm.
building at the same time. We gonna write this off as a business expense.
And that's what it is. And that's what
Now
it
that
is. And a lot of people don't notice it. I'm like, bro, this is work.
oh no,
I
now
mean,
that you said
we
that,
can
I see it.
play, we can play, but this can be work.
Mm-hmm. Man,
So I mean, and then I think it also depends on your clients too, because your clients will have a fun in it. Um, like our ones in Colorado, they went above and beyond for us to come there.
mm-hmm.
Um, because their engagement was supposed to be in Florida, and we kept talking about it. We're like, oh, do you want to come Bimini? And they're like, yeah. And we said no, and I said, but isn't your theme like ice? And she's like, yeah, I think it is, and I don't think it would fit. And I said, what about Colorado? And she's like, it's funny enough that me and my fiance are actually going there within a month. And I said, oh, you should just bring us out there and we can do the engagement there. And
Is that a
so,
higher fee?
huh?
Is the travel a higher fee?
It depends on the collection. Because initially their wedding session had an engagement. So we were going to fly to Florida regardless.
Okay.
But because we changed it, I just said, okay, well, this is the difference. So all you got to do is pay the difference.
Mm,
All you got to do is pay the flight. I told them not to worry about the hotel. That's on me. That's just to be uh, accommodating with it because they
yeah.
already doing so much. They went from Miami to Colorado, and they enjoyed it. Like they trust me. Until this day, like she is like, oh my god, Leo, favorite photos ever, and I'm like, just wait till the wedding. So we had a blast. Like did it in one day.
Hmm.
Yeah, shot like an entire day, literally an entire day, because they flew in.
Right.
We came in on Thursday. They came in on Friday. So Friday morning, a 6 hour flight.
Hmm.
Was it for them? I think it was like a 5 or 6 hour flight. So as soon as they landed, they drove straight an hour and a half to the shoot location,
Hmm.
freezing cold, and we just knocked it out. We just like, okay, well, it's 12 o'clock. Technically, it would be it's 2 hours ahead, so it'd be 2 o'clock Miami time. So we were there like extra 2 hours. So we just
Yeah. Let's knock it out, man.
yeah.
That's for sure. So, man, tell us what's next. What's next for Legacy Studios? What's the next step? What y'all working towards? What y'all building over there?
Uh, I mean, we have some internal goals. I think like this is our official. I would personally say for me,
Hmm.
this will be like our official first year. If that makes because like you could start a business, but you don't have like an official
Yeah.
feel. Like you could be doing like so much, and it doesn't feel like oh well, yeah.
Hmm.
So I think last year pushed us a lot because of COVID and stuff. So we've been networking, changing up a lot of things. And I told Kev, I'm like, hey, the goal for 2021, I don't know how it's gonna happen, is 6K. Not 6K, six figures.
Hmm.
And I said that's our goal. I've never done it. I probably have, but I don't know.
But you ain't kept
I
it.
doubt it. Yeah, and I said I probably can't even think about it. And I said, hey, that's our goal for this year.
Mhm.
Um,
Regardless of
between
COVID,
us two, huh?
regardless of the pandemic.
Yeah, regardless. And I said, that's our goal. And she said, oh, I said, yeah, we can do this. I don't know how we can do it, but we can do it. Um, and I think just this year is more development because we've been doing a lot personally, like building and all of that. So
Hmm.
trying to bring a lot more spirituality to our relationship and to our clients and letting them know, hey, this is where we stand.
Yeah.
We don't want to go outside the lines of what he tells us. So I think it's just more building a lot of our brand ourselves. Definitely our company. The more relationships we get into with other vendors, just a whole lot of networking and learning. A lot of people have been asking and reaching out for us to teach. So I
Mm.
think that might be something that I dabble in this year. I know Kev actually tutored one person so far, but I think that's where I've been a little bit hesitant because I know what people go into. They go into it for the wrong reasons, and I kind of don't want them to go into that pitfall. Um, and I think that's one thing that's been hindering me like forever now.
Hmm.
Because people have asked me like before I even started Legacy, like when I did Leo Query, they're like, "Oh, I want to mentor on you," and I'm like, "No, you can do it for the wrong reasons." And sure enough, that's what they did,
Hmm.
and they don't do it anymore. And I'm like, see that, and like,
Hmm.
but I think I'm gonna be a little bit more open to it. Um, just so people know, hey, this is what it is. You could ask me questions, and I have people pick my brain all the time, like, oh, how did you do this? What's more profitable? And I give like advice all the time because I think I don't want to keep it all to myself because my mistakes could be helping someone else not do the same mistakes I did,
Yep.
or my experiences learning and going forward could be helping them. Because I, like, if you make 100K, I am happy for you.
Yeah.
I'm not the type like, oh well, why the hell I didn't tell? Why tell them? Oh. I'm like, no, like you should be happy. Like they made 100K. Okay, that's great. Like you and that person don't live out the same life. You don't know how they live. You don't know what God has blessed them with. Totally different things. So I tend not to be envious of, oh, I want to live like that. No, like you should live like your own life, because you don't know what I go through, what Keva goes through, what we may, y'all may be living vicariously through us, but y'all don't know what we actually go through. If that makes sense.
Facts.
So I think it's just self development a lot for this year. And just a lot of networking. I think that's gonna be the funnest part of this year. Maybe traveling. Not 100% sure. I wanted to do a whole bunch of traveling this year, but still might do it. But we'll see how it goes.
Gotcha. For sure. For sure. All right. Well, look into the camera and tell somebody who is an aspiring photographer some advice that you wish somebody gave you. I mean, somebody did give you the game early, but give somebody do what my man did for you, and give somebody some solid closing words for those who are aspiring to be as successful as you have been in your you going on 10 years in the game.
Yeah, yeah. Oddly enough, this would be 10 if you want to count everything. It would be 10.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me see. I would just say honestly, just be yourself. Don't try to mimic. We find that some people are trying to mimic other styles or whatever they do, their passion, their niches. They don't really tend to go far. So once you be yourself, like people will love you for who you are. Like you don't ever have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we made totally different. We have our own flaws. We have our own attributes to help us go forward. You don't know what's actually going on within yourself. You're developing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think you just have to be not fearful of the future. You're not fearful of what gift you have inside of you.
Facts.
I think you should definitely go forth and what you believe and what you think you should do. But definitely pray about it. Don't go into it headstrong. Some people just tend to jump in and don't seek advice, and they just pray something happens. Then I would say pray before, meditate,
Mm-hmm.
fast if you do fasting, and just be confident. I think that's the biggest thing. Be confident even when you get told no. Don't take no. Sometimes no is just a stepping stool. That might be a test. You
Mm-hmm.
never know. You get told no 3 times, you go back one more time, or you get told no 2 times, you go back the third time. They might see the determination in you to actually give you an opportunity, and you outshine whatever it is that they had of you. So you change the perception, you change the narrative of what people perceive of you. So definitely something to go for, and just trust in yourself and God.
Can't close it out no better than that. All right. For those of y'all who love this interview, for those of y'all watching on Facebook, for those of y'all watching on YouTube, smash that like button. You know, like all the kids say, smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this with somebody who really needs this. Was a great one on not just the business side of it, on building a photography business, but also on like what it takes to sustain and build a legacy. No pun intended. For those of y'all listening on iTunes, give me that 5-star review. You know, 5 stars only. We don't take 1 star. We don't take 2, 3, 4. No, 5 stars only, so that we can keep getting this message to those who really need this. Until then, y'all know that I am Cameron Lovelace, helping you create your version of the good life. Until then, we'll see you next week.